Hello, glad you can join us. Here's what we have for you. Not guilty. Why reaction is mixed after verdicts in Canada's sensational hockey sex assault trial.
A resounding vindication.
Today's verdict is so devastating.
What the ruling could mean for future cases. Remembering Hulk Hogan, the larger-than-life legend, his highs and lows.
They should be able to remove the material and get the drone in.
Plus, how rescuers hope to reach workers trapped more than half a kilometer below ground.
CTV National News with Sandy Ronaldo.
Everyone on edge for hours waiting for a judge in London, Ontario to present her decision in the blockbuster sexual assault trial of 5 former World Junior hockey players. The issue of consent front and center. Each of the 5 accused sitting at a table with their defense teams, listening, waiting, and then the ruling. All 5 not guilty on all counts. CTV's Adrian Gobriel now on the extraordinary drama playing out in a packed courtroom. Hi, Adrian.
Sandy, Justice Maria Carrasilla spoke for 5 hours today, first delivering the evidence that was presented before the courts, then the reasons for her decision, and eventually the verdicts of not guilty. In a case that hinged on one word, consent, Justice Carrasilla found that the complainant lacked credibility and even at times exaggerated her level of intoxication. The pressure-packed culmination of a historic 8-week criminal trial.
Definitely been emotional for everybody involved.
With the defendants arriving for decision day inside, the proceedings began with a recap of the evidence brought before the courts. Justice Maria Carrasilla opened by proclaiming that she didn't find the evidence of EM, the complainant, to be either credible or reliable.
There were videos that were put to her. There was testimony of other hockey players. She was heavily cross-examined on that to raise some doubt about her credibility.
During a brief break in today's proceedings before the verdicts were even delivered, the accused hockey players were seen smiling and hugging their lawyers and family members in the courtroom. While delivering her verdicts, Justice Carrasilla told the court that where EM had gaps in her memory, she filled them with assumptions. Going on to share that EM testified that while at Jack's Bar in London, Ontario, it was the players who bought her drinks all night, though video evidence shows EM purchasing multiple beverages herself. Previously, EM told the courts that on the night of June 18, 2018, she'd arrived at a downtown hotel with Michael McLeod where they had consensual sex. Afterwards, McLeod then sent this text message to teammates asking who wants to be in a, quote, 3-way. Multiple teammates arrived at room 209. EM alleged that she was, quote, manipulated and intimidated into remaining inside this hotel room. Though in her findings, Justice Carrasilla shared that she couldn't find any of the players guilty of sexual assault beyond a reasonable doubt. Former World Junior Team Canada captain Dylan Dubé and teammates Cal Foote, Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, and Alex Fermenton have each been found not guilty of sexual assault. McLeod has also been found not guilty of being party to the offense. We heard protesters scream for justice today. Has justice been served?
Yes, I think that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to see justice served here, and Justice Carrasilla has done a thorough and careful analysis and delivered a just verdict, and so that's what we've seen here today.
Justice Carrasilla also found that she was satisfied that EM encouraged the men inside the hotel room to take part in those sexual acts and was even upset when they declined her invitation. Sandy.
All right, Adrian, thank you. Now, outside the courthouse, as Adrian indicated, a large group of supporters had gathered in support of EM, the alleged victim, who maintains the situation in 2019 made her feel she didn't have a choice. Today's ruling has some saying the system is not designed for survivors. CTV's John Benavalli-Rao now on the reaction to the ruling and the implication for future cases. John.
Sandy, those who helped the victims of sexual assault worry the way this whole trial unfolded may make some women more reluctant to come forward. Justice! Representatives from more than a dozen sex assault centers made their presence known in London, there to support the complainant and disappointed by the judge's decision.
It makes me sick. You know, it's gutting. It's absolutely gutting.
Those who work with abused women say the trial, regardless of outcome, showed problems in how sexual assault complaints are handled, pointing to the 9 days of questioning and cross-examination EM was subjected to.
This is probably why I have to sign. because that is one courageous woman, one strong woman, to do what she did for us.
And they worry the high-profile nature of the case and not guilty verdicts could make the victims of sexual crimes more reluctant to come forward. A report last year found just 6% of sexual assaults are reported to police, and 1 in 19 of those led to a sentence involving custody.
The sad part about it is some of it is not surprising just because of the system and how it's continued to let down victims and survivors who come forward.
And the case ignited fresh conversations about sex and the culture surrounding sport in Canada.
If I had a son who was in a room that night, I would be very upset. Regardless of whether you think a crime was committed or not, I think we can all agree it was a bad situation. And for the men that were involved in that hotel room, I think at least one of them should have had the wherewithal to speak up and say, guys, this isn't right.
Some say the verdict doesn't erase concerns about hockey culture and the power dynamics that exist, and being legal isn't synonymous with moral acceptance.
Right.
Sandy.
Okay, John, and let's pick up on that, these concerns about Canada's hockey culture and the ongoing conversation over consent. TSN senior correspondent Rick Westhead broke this story years ago, joins us now from London. Okay, Rick, talk to us about the fallout from the case and the effect that this could possibly have on the wider hockey culture.
Well, this is already having a huge impact on hockey culture. Remember, because of this case and the subsequent parliamentary hearings, that's how the public found out that Hockey Canada had maintained a secret slush fund to pay off sexual assault allegations and other legal claims. Secretly, they were maintaining that account using money raised from minor hockey registration fees. And so that's led to wholesale change in Hockey Canada. We've seen the board turnover, and we've seen a real effort by Hockey Canada to win back the public's trust by doing things like introducing what it calls an independent third-party program to actually formalize how complaints of abuse and maltreatment are received and investigated across the country. Right.
But to your point, Rick, although changes have been made at the top, what about at the local level when there are so many levels there? When the players are young, who's responsible for sensitivity training with those people around consent?
Yeah, good question. And change is not going to happen overnight. Change is slow, and we are starting to see it. I found hockey organizations across Canada over the last few years that are taking this more seriously. For instance, in Canada's largest city, in the Greater Toronto Hockey League, that league has said that moving forward, it's planning to be more transparent about people who are sanctioned for off-ice misconduct. And other leagues, provincial and local, are kind of following suit. So, again, this isn't going to happen overnight where people get this figured out, but more and more, as there's more stories like this, there's going to be more pressure on these organizations to kind of be best in class with both investigations, education, and transparency when things bad happen.
Okay, and before I thank you, Rick, we just got notification from Hockey Canada that the players remain suspended. Okay, thanks so much, Rick, as always.
This happened last week when they took a shot at my hero. And they tried to kill the next president of the United States. Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
All right, today we mark the passing of Hulk Hogan, the larger-than-life pro wrestling legend who dominated the sport for decades and who in recent years, as we saw, was an avid and vocal supporter of Donald Trump. He also dabbled in film and television before wrestling with health issues. CTV's Genevieve Beauchemin looks back at the life of the 71-year-old Hulkster.
Hulk Hogan's legacy is tied to wrestling, of course, but ever the performer. He also took his trademark horseshoe mustache and bandanas to the music world and to TV and movie screens.
The ultimate male versus the ultimate meatball.
Including in Rocky III, that propelled him to stardom. Hogan was born Terry Jean Bolea in Georgia, the son of a construction worker and a dance teacher. He built that massive physique and earned his stage name. As fellow wrestlers commented, he was bigger than Lou Ferrigno, who played Hulk on TV.
Look at this!
He then slammed his way to the very top of worldwide wrestling stardom, at his peak defeating Andre the Giant with a body slam. He often leaned into the ring persona of a flag-waving, heroic All-American.
Eat your vitamins. Be true to yourself, true to your country. Be a real American.
Though he also later played a villain, as both he had fans around the globe, including Montreal, where in 1997, Jacques Rougeau became the only Canadian wrestler to land a win against Hogan.
The greatest of all times, Hulk Hogan. And I love you, Hulk.
Rougeau last saw his friend 6 months ago as they signed championship belts.
He signed it in my name. He says, "You're the only one who beat me in Canada." He says, "You deserve this belt."
Hogan was admired by many but faced several controversies. In 1994, he was forced to admit in court to years of steroid use and later to apologize for a racist rant caught on video. Through it all, though, his superstardom in and out of the ring remained embedded in pop culture. Hogan died at the age of 71 of cardiac arrest. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
Well, about half a kilometre underground inside a BC mine, 3 workers remain trapped behind a huge wall of debris after 2 rock collapses. There's been no communication with the men, and it could be weeks before they're brought to safety. CTV's Reagan Hasegawa has this update.
Deep inside the Red Chris mine, 3 trapped miners are waiting to be rescued.
It's very concerning for the families, for the workers in the sector, and all British Columbians and Canadians.
The 3 core drillers from BC, Manitoba, and Ontario are trained to work underground. They were more than 500 meters below the surface when rock above them gave way Tuesday. They managed to reach a refuge chamber just in time before a second collapse sealed the access tunnel behind them. Newmont, the company that owns the mine, says that area is stable and is designed to keep 16 people alive for weeks.
There's water, there's food, and there's compressed air feeding that refuge station. So with that, it's all the basics you need to sustain life.
The second collapse cut off all communication. Now, rescue crews are racing to restore contact.
Phone lines, if they have Wi-Fi, like it would take out those networks.
The blockage is massive, 20 to 30 meters of rock stacked up to 8 meters high. Crews are now using a remote-controlled scoop to dig through the debris without putting more lives at risk. Specialized drones are also being deployed deep underground to scan for structural weakness before anyone goes in.
A lot of things that have to be done in place to make sure that it is a safe and effective rescue.
The Red Chris is an open-pit gold and copper mine about 1,700 kilometers north of Vancouver. All production has now been shut down. Specialist rescue teams from other mine sites have been flown in. Every tool and every minute matters.
A lot of things that have to be done in place to make sure that it is a safe and effective rescue.
Officials say the rescue could take days or even weeks. And until crews break through or hear from the miners, there's no way to know for sure how they're doing. Sandy.
All right. Thank you for this, Reagan. Well, word today of an ever-shifting goalpost for a Canada-U.S. trade deal. The latest to weigh in again, Pete Hoekstra, the U.S. ambassador to Canada, suggesting a framework for a deal may not happen by August 1st, but within the following 2 to 4 to 6 weeks. CTV's Abigail Beeman on how most agree the deadline is fluid. Abigail, tell us more.
Sandy, with August 1st just days away, will we get a deal or won't we? It seems to be what everyone's talking about. And today in Washington, the minister responsible for Canada-U.S. trade weighed in.
Dominic LeBlanc wrapped up Washington meetings, including with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, for now.
We're going to continue to work towards the August 1st deadline. We're going to be back here again next week. But all of these deadlines are with the understanding that we'll take the time necessary to get the best deal.
While this Republican senator is less optimistic about the timing.
I wish that I could say it feels good that this is all going to be taken care of before the 1st of August, but I'm not sensing that.
Still, Canada is stressing there's progress, the ambassador pointing to the Prime Minister's announcement targeting cheap foreign steel imports.
The measures that Canada has taken on steel, in particular against anti-circumvention, are some of the strongest in the world, and that has been recognized and very much appreciated. So we're making some positive progress.
They say they're hurt and they were insulted, and it's kind of like, well, it's not a whole lot of people or countries that we've asked to become the 51st state that I can remember.
Meanwhile, we're hearing more from U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra. CTV News obtained the full video of his comments at a summit where he made headlines for this.
Well, there are reasons why the president and some of his team refer to Canada as being mean and nasty to deal with.
He also weighed in on that August 1st deadline.
Whether it's August 1, I don't see it extending a lot past that. I'd be surprised if we were still talking about it on September 1.
Ambassador Hoekstra also said he's optimistic about the future, but there needs to be more advocates for the Canada-U.S. relationship. From where he stands 90 days into the job, he says there aren't any. As he put it, there are political parties saying elbows up and relative quiet from the business community. Sandy?
Okay, Abigail, thanks. Coming up, conversation with a convicted sex trafficker.
Do you have anything to say today?
What the U.S. Justice Department hopes to expose in the Epstein saga. The Jeffrey Epstein saga took another turn today when the Deputy Attorney General paid a visit to Ghislaine Maxwell, the Epstein associate, now spending 20 years behind bars for her role in the abuse and grooming of underage girls. Let's bring in CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Joy Malbon. And so, what happened during that face-to-face, Joy?
No, Sandy, this is big. Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General and the President's personal lawyer, just wrapped his interview with Ghislaine Maxwell about what she knows. She was transferred from prison and is appealing her conviction for sex trafficking. So is there anything she can offer? Is she angling for some kind of immunity? The President said it was appropriate to talk to her as his supporters are demanding more transparency, especially after the Wall Street Journal dropped that bombshell reporting that Donald Trump's name is among many in the unreleased justice files. He was asked last week if the Attorney General had told him that. Have a listen.
The Attorney General briefed you on the DOJ and FBI review, the findings of that review. The Attorney General briefed you on that.
What?
On the DOJ and FBI review.
What subject?
Epstein, of the review of the files. Attorney General Pam Bondi briefed you on that.
Very quick briefing.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
She's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen.
Okay, Joy, while we have you here, Donald Trump also toured the newly renovated Federal Reserve Building, and then he stood next to Chairman Jerome Powell. No love lost between those two men. What happened?
Yeah, it's no secret, Sandy, that the president's not happy with Jerome Powell, the man he appointed to the Federal Reserve. He's not pleased, and the Fed is supposed to be politically independent. But Trump has repeatedly demanded that Powell slash interest rates as Trump's tariffs take effect and prices rise. He's even threatened to fire him. This as the president struggles to move past the Epstein controversy. Sandy.
Okay, Joy, thank you. Still ahead, wild invasion, a toxic species taking root, and the danger it poses to you. A yellow plant with sharp leaves native to Eurasia, but now invading North America, is not as pretty as it looks. The wild parsnip likes to settle on roadsides and fields. The trouble is, its sap contains chemicals that, when touched, can burn and blister skin, even cause blindness. CTV's Maria Saru is in PEI, where the invasive weed is growing out of control. Maria.
Sandy, I'm on Charlottetown's Confederation Trail, where professionals dealt with a patch of the plant earlier. There's so much of it on the island, they can't keep up. And there are reports of people suffering chemical burns. It looks harmless, even pretty, but this invasive species can do serious damage. If the sap gets on your skin, then sees the sun, it could cause a bad burn.
If you got boiling water poured on your skin, it would have a similar appearance to that.
Chase Gaindo with the PEI Invasive Species Council is here to help. Rubber gloves to the elbows, shirt buttoned to the top, protective goggles in place, and safety helmet on. He rips it out from the root. At first, the council thought the threat was manageable, but eventually realized they won't be able to get it all.
Since putting the call out for reports a couple weeks ago, we've been flooded with emails and messages. We're going to have to decide how to prioritize particular patches to prevent the risk to human health.
Wild parsnip isn't just PEI's problem. This year alone, it sparked control strategies across the country, including British Columbia, Ontario, and Nova Scotia as well. It can take over sunny forested areas and meadows, destroying biodiversity, displacing beneficial insects, and harming animals that eat it.
They can interrupt the fertility of livestock, as well as it also can stunt growth of livestock as well.
So what to watch out for?
The first thing that you would notice if you're just passing by are these bright yellow flat-top clusters of small yellow flowers.
Also, a bright green grooved stem and leaves with serrated edges. The PEI Invasive Species Council is asking islanders to help stop the spread by reporting sightings. They say there are no bad reports. It's better to be safe than sorry. Sandy.
All right, Maria, thank you. When we come back, the takeaway from today's stunning hockey sex assault verdict. What a day it has been with Canadians and many around the world watching and waiting for the outcome in the sexual assault trial of 5 former junior world hockey players. The 8 weeks of testimony and analysis coming to a close with the judge telling all 5 accused, you are free to go.
When a person summons the courage to disclose their story, the worst possible outcome is to feel disbelieved. It's a gutting experience that no one deserves.
Those are the words of the woman who filed the sexual assault case read out by her lawyer. Carter Hart, Alex Fomenton, Cal Foote, Dylan Dubé, and Michael McLeod were all found not guilty of sexual assault. McLeod also not guilty of being party to the offense. Inside the London, Ontario courtroom, the judge said in her opening statements that she did not find the evidence of the complainant to be either credible or reliable, and also said the Crown failed to prove the sexual encounters at a hotel room in 2018 were not consensual. A verdict that strong reaction from Canadians both inside and outside the courthouse. And we will continue to debate that outcome. I'm Sandy Ronaldo. Thanks for sharing your time with us. Bye for now.